being that you were with, among, and one of this early collection of artists, how did you find what you did on the writing side of things evolved and adapted as you were going around to different people?
Well, we always wrote. I think Kaz instilled that in me. I always say I'm a branch off of Grandmaster Kaz's tree, because now we sat with the pen and the pads and the books, and that's what we did. We wrote. So it became a habit. Everywhere you go, you write. You something you do, something you go through in life, you're like, oh yeah, I need to write about that. So everything we wrote, regardless, no matter what. And then again, I was like pretty much, you might as well say, one of the original freestyle artists, because I could flow forever, nonstop. So when you collaborate that, think about it. If I'm rocking for 2 or 3 hours by myself, I'm a freestyle a bunch of it. All of that ain't written, but then you go back into the yes, y'all, to the beat, y'all. That's your little break to go into another rhyme, into another flow. You can change the style, you can speed it up, slow it down. It just depended on the record. With me, it depended on the record. If like my favorite records were fast, like I Can't Stop and Catch a Groove and stuff like that. And then when you get the really slow ones, the Avenue and Bells and stuff like that, it's just different flows. It'll go from PRINCE to Steady with the Flow. Totally different, but always come across strong and hardcore no matter what, style you use. So writing was pretty much the beginning. And then I think because I was a musician, because in 6th grade, they put a sax in my hand. I didn't even know what a saxophone was. I'm like, you think I'm gonna end up playing this thing? Before I know it, I was writing music. So that kind of led to,
so do you think that probably impacted the way you ended up flowing though, right? Because you would think about
it. Oh yeah, because you're rhythmic now. You right. Understand that your voice, your throat is an instrument. And you understand bars and measures. So you're doing 16, like on a record like I Can't Stop, I'll be rocking in 16 notes. You know what I mean? Hella fast and hella hard. So that I think had a lot to do with it. The fact that my dad was a guitar player and a piano player, it's been in the family. So music has been there forever. And then when you're Latino, you grow up listening to music. Weekends, mom's is always playing salsa. You're cleaning the house. You know what I mean? Then we throw parties whenever there's like sunshine. Oh, so is your third cousin removed from so and so's birthday. Oh, party. So you're growing. You're being raised in the atmosphere. And then of course when you go and no matter what store you go to in the Bronx, no matter what, even in Manhattan, I don't care where you go, there's always music. Latin music mostly, and you hear the parks, you hear the congas, you hear the, all right, you hear the playing. So we were raised listening to music, and that's why I feel like it's almost it's kind of weird. It's almost like the Peter Pan syndrome. I'm like, music keeps you young, and we're forever music. I'm always be music, no matter what. You have skills and do other things, but music is my passion, and it's not hip hop music that's my passion or salsa. It's kind of like that old school R&B. I love doo-wop. I love all the old stuff, but that's my passion. That's something you could do to turn on, and no matter how you're feeling, it makes you just feel great inside. And so, it's all about the music.
It is.
Yeah.
And that is interesting and leads me into, can I go to Soul Clap? Because for you, what was it like having all this practice from the shows and routines and all this stuff to actually then making a record and being part of that? How was that transition for you?
Well, first and foremost, we did what was that? Soul on Wax Records, Johnny Soul. We heard all the myths and the crazy stories from the other groups signing with Sugar Hill and such, and excuse me. And Johnny Soul had a record shop in Hollywood, and he was like, hey, I'd like you guys to put a record. I want to do this record. I'm going to the studio. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So we got my man Rakan D, God bless the dead. He just passed last year. Played drums, went down studio, cut a joint, and it was sweet. We liked it, but we didn't like it at the end. You gotta excuse me. Because we performed, we liked the record, but then we didn't like the record.
What do you mean?
So yeah, I mean, it's like right now, it's like, but it wasn't what we was, it didn't have that, it was nice, but we just, didn't want to perform it. So we never did. Ain't that weird? Got a record, don't want to perform it.
Very, very weird.
Yes. And then, of course, being that we was hot and everybody we didn't like doing interviews. We didn't want nobody taking pictures. Look, hindsight, I guess we should have took some pictures like we should have, Gold Crush, they had a photographer with them. So that's why you see so many pictures of Gold Crush. They had Joe Conzo, which I'm wearing one of his shirts, born in the Bronx. And
how could you guys be fantastic romantic and didn't want to take pictures?
You know what? It's weird. We were on some Prince shit. Like, you can't interview us. We ain't doing interviews. We were stupid stuck up. But you could, as you see, we took pictures. But not as many as like Cold Crush or anybody else.
Right.
Because who could foresee that? Joe didn't foresee that. And now look, I met Jody not too long ago, a couple of years ago, right here at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because he had his own exhibition with all of that old school stuff.
Yeah.
So nobody knew what anything was going to lead to.
That's true. Speaking of that, Wild Style, I wanted to get from you being in there and being on screen, performing, and all that stuff. How did that change the trajectory of how you looked at the business, really?
Oh, well, now you're reaching. Now that's a whole new media. That was we were hitting genres of people like Japan. Perfect, for instance, because I didn't go with the groups when they went to Japan at first with the premiere of Wild Style, but that changed the outlook throughout the whole world. They were like, wow, that's hip hop. They know what hip hop was. They never heard of it. So I give it to Wild Style, the fact that they were able to immortalize, put that together and put it out, that really changed things for everybody, because now I still get people hitting me up on my Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and they're like, "Yo, can I get this? What I need to give you for some bars, or would you come to my country and play music?" We get a lot of that. We didn't really know back then. We were just doing what we normally did back then. Charlie Ahern and Fat Five Freddy was like, "Yo, we want to film you guys," and Busy B brought them down, and they're like, "Yo, we want to film you guys." We were like, "Yeah, sure." They were paying us. We didn't realize either how big that was going to be. Well, now, it's kind of like a cult classic. It's the first hip hop movie ever. Everybody else started doing it after that. We got the Crush Grooves and Beat Streets, which are all phenomenal, movies. But I mean, anything that has to do with the culture, I appreciate, and I could see where they're coming from and the angles of what they're doing and what they got out of what we started. So that kind of keeps us to even today in the ballpark. I still get these companies in Russia. We just got a deal in Brazil. I got, I'm working in Russia. And so it's like, thank you. Like I said, right place, right time.
Well, why didn't you go on the promotional tours to Japan?
Well, no, our group broke up. Back in, when Fantastic broke up? I want to say 82.
Oh, so right around when the movie was coming out?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, I mean, first and foremost, I got tired of the scene. The scene was go do gigs, get paid, go to the fever, sniff blow, drink champagne, go home, started all over again. You know, that kind of got, so then we were stuck with that contract with Soul on Wax. And that kind of like, well, like I'm gonna get a contract that y'all can't mess with. And I ended up going to the Navy. Ruby D ended up going to he went to the Army, but that was separate things. And we actually met up in California. But that's how I ended up bouncing out of New York. And thank God that I did, because that's when the crack epidemic jumped off. So I guess the Lord was like, yo, it's not meant for you to, to have been in that. But Lord knows where the hell I would have been. Because, I mean, I was a product in the streets. We were a part of the streets. A lot of people lost a couple of years. A lot of people lost their lives. You know, I won't mention what's what, but I mean, a lot of people got stuck in that epidemic.
Right.
And I just thank God that I was blessed to not be a part of that. I remember being in the Navy on my ship, and they were talking about crack. And I said, what the fuck is crack? You know, the crack epidemic in New York is just da-da-da. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? I just left New York. I don't remember hearing about none of that shit. And they're like, oh, you mean freebasing? Oh, yeah. You know, that Richard Pryor be talking about, you know, that. I knew it as that, but they gave it that name, crack. So I think that was a win-win for Whip a Whip to just be a part of that. And then that's how I ended up with the Los Angeles saga of me and hip hop.
Well, given your relationship with Africa Islam, is that how you got really hit the ground running in LA, I guess?
Well, I was in LA, and there was a show, K-Day, and I was with my girl, and I called up K-Day, and I was like, yeah, I want to make a dedication to my girl. Yeah, you know, so I forgot what song it was. And it's like, yeah, from Whip a Whip. And then one of the characters was like, hold on. And so then somebody else came on the phone and said, yo, who this? I said, it's Whip a Whip. I want to make a dedication to my girl. Yo, Whip, it's Hen G. My brother's Evil Lee. He DJs for Ice-T, yo. We need to link up. He said, you in LA? I said, yeah. He said, yo. So we linked up. I hooked up with Ice. And next thing you know, we started touring. It was, you know, the Henji and his brother had Evil E had a group called Brothers that they rocked. And then I would come on, and then Ice would close the show. We did shit like Knott's Berry Farm, you know, all kind of places in LA, you know, and you know, and then like the whole crew, the whole syndicate crew was so embracing that they really the ones who took me around LA and opened my eyes to all of that. Because I mean, red and blue, I love my colors red. We went to places people were like, yo, pulling guns out. I'm like, yo, you know, you can't be wearing that. But just for the fact that we were down with syndicate, kind of like, I'm like, yo, New York, I ain't know none of that shit. But man, I was in like 7 shootouts out there. Got shot twice. One time it was a graze, but one time it went through my chest. So, you know, boogie down Bronx, grow up in the Bronx, whatever, to get shot in Hollywood. Go figure.
That's crazy. Well,
yeah.
Thankfully, you made it through both. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And I just had a fight with the COVID and won. Bam, 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 bam. Whip is still kicking.
Congratulations on that.
Yes. Yes. Thank God for that one, because like I said, when you don't know what to expect, you know, life can be, you know, quite scary, not knowing if you're going to see tomorrow.
Yes. Thankfully, I've only seen that once or twice myself, but I try to avoid it. You know? So then,
I know.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
There's always gonna be shit happening in the streets.
You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The history of gangster rap in stores now.